Hello everyone, my name is Fear Dragon and welcome to another Modest Musings. Today we are going to be talking about something that it's more of just a confession. It's going to be a topic, don't worry, it's actually going to be a normal topic, but it's definitely also going to be a little bit more details about things that I've been thinking about lately. And it's going to be a bit of a confession about something I don't really want to admit to myself, but I'm kind of forcing myself to do so. This is also an easy way. Well, not an easy way. This is a way for me to really force myself to come to terms with how I feel right now. Um, so where do I begin? I'll start talking about, I guess, my what I've sort of realized, and we'll kind of take it from there and move on to a general, more broad topic. But recently, one of my best friends, just not even just in StarCraft, like one of my best friends, Zombie Grub, got hired for BlizzCon casting. It got announced. I actually could not be happier for her. Zombie Grub is super duper amazing. She is hardworking. She puts in a lot of the effort and she makes a concerted effort to improve. She's been, I think, touted by a lot of other commentators out there as someone who's just been really amazing, and she is a really solid commentator, and she brings a lot to the table. I consider myself a really good friend of Zombie Grub, and at least she's a really good friend of mine. We, as well as Oli Moly, are all really good friends, and we talk on like a nearly daily basis about everything. So like it's I really want to emphasize that I'm incredibly happy for her. I'm thrilled for her as one of the other fellow people alongside Wordy as well that got a premier WCS gig for the first time. Myself, Zombie Grub, and Wordy in 2017, the first commentators that weren't like just player casters or something. I think since almost 2013 or 2012, since Nathanius and Maynard and Pig started coming on board, like way back in those days. It's been a very long time. In a lot of ways, I feel like us three are kind of like the quote unquote next potential generation. But I 100% also put Wardy and Zombie Grub a bit above me as two people who are also full time and just honestly better commentators than me. With this, I think came a little bit of sadness for me personally because I realized that there was that opportunity. It was like the thing that I didn't know was possible. Anyone asked me, what are the chances I could cast BlizzCon this year, the same year that I got my first premier WCS gig? I would tell you literally it was zero. It was actually a 0% chance. Maybe 0.1% chance because for some reason, literally minutes before BlizzCon was about to begin, it turned out that everyone in the entire casting staff all got food poisoning so bad during the group stages that they needed someone to fill in, and I happened to be at BlizzCon. Like, literally, that was the kind of scenario that I was imagining. I might get to cast BlizzCon. Zombie Grub getting hired, kind of, it's sort of a weird thing. You suddenly think, oh, well, maybe that could have been me. Maybe I could have gotten that gig. Not so much as in the sense of, like, I could have gotten it over Zombie Grub, because I really don't think that's the case. Because, again, I still think that Zombie Grub, and not only Zombie Grub, but then Wardy would have probably be in front of me as well for that gig. But it suddenly, when that thing, it feels like it's not as far out of your reach as it used to be. It feels really different. You start thinking about things in a very different way. And it kind of stings. It does sting. I think that's something I really didn't want to admit to myself for a while. That it's not exactly jealousy. It is jealousy to an extent, I think. But I do think that I'm maintaining it in a pretty healthy way. I don't feel jealousy as in I wish that I had the opportunity over Zombie Grub or Maynard or Pig or Todd or Artosis and Taste. Like, I would never want that opportunity over anyone else. But I do want that opportunity. It's not even so much that I just want to have been given the opportunity. I want to feel like I earned that opportunity. And I think that if I had gotten it, I probably wouldn't feel like I had earned the opportunity. But I want to feel like I've earned that opportunity. I want to get to that point. And I think all of this sort of just came unexpectedly for me. A lot of these feelings that, oh man, kind of like driving that point home that, oh, some people have earned that opportunity, like Zombie Grove, for instance, but you haven't made it there yet. And I think it's like a very bittersweet feeling when your good friend is that person. It'd be a lot easier if I just hated Zombie Grub or hated any of the other casters, but all of them are awesome. They're all fantastic people. They're all amazing, wonderful people to work with. And they're all very good at what they do. So in some ways, this kind of sucks for me because I can't hate any of them. But at the same time, I think it's helped me keep like a healthy mindset about it. And it's kind of driven me to feel like I need to just improve more and focus more on becoming a better commentator. But it's made me realize something very important about myself and I guess my position in StarCraft and I guess the way I think about things, just in life in general. If you know me, then I do oftentimes say things like, oh, I'd be surprised if anyone knows me. I get told that I sell myself short a lot of the time. And while I do disagree that I think that sometimes people overestimate how much of a following or how many people would know who I am and that kind of things. I do know that I kind of go a little bit overboard sometimes, and I'm sort of aware of that to the extent that I am realizing more recently that it helps me. It's exactly what pro gamers do. It's something that I hate that pro players do. Uh, Funny enough, it's underselling yourself to, I guess, reduce not so much just the pressure, but it reduces the feeling of loss when things don't work out. So, for example, perfect example is Neeb. Neeb is a player who constantly likes to undersell himself, constantly likes to push along the thing, average Alex, standard Sunder half. Like, he loves those kind of nicknames that really undersell how good he is. And part of it is just because it doesn't want it to go to his head, but also just if you start to feel too confident about yourself, it's almost like a self-defense mechanism that if you feel like you weren't that good, when you lose, you won't feel as bad about it necessarily. You feel like, it was out of my reach. And I think in a lot of ways that was sort of my self-defense mechanism for a lot of these things. Like if anyone had just said, oh, actually a really good example, Probe at WCS Valencia was going into the round of 16 and facing off versus Neeb in the very first round. Nobody, including Probe, expected to win that, or expected Probe to win that. Everyone thought Neeb was just going to brutally honest 3-0 Probe. Probe is an awesome player, is a phenomenal player, and I love him to death. But nobody, including Probe, I think expected him. Maybe Probe was thinking, I'll maybe take a game, maybe 2 games if he's really like lucky or something. But probably just like at most 1 game. But I was talking to him. He was prepared to be 3-0'd. But suddenly he actually goes 2-2 with Neeb. He goes to a game 5. He is 1 round away from knocking out the player that had won 2 WCS events that year already. He was the only foreigner that ever won a tournament on Korean soil. It was literal God Neeb. Pro was so close to doing it, and that's when he lost. And you know what? I think if Pro had been 3-0'd, it wouldn't have hurt as much as it did when he lost barely in that 5th game 3-2 because it felt within his grasp. And similarly, I never got down or sad or depressed when I never got a WCS gig or any premier commentating gig in the past, just because it felt so far away from me. It felt so far out of my reach. And it's making me realize that there's a self-defense mechanism that, again, like I think myself and also pros and all kinds of other people, I'm sure, use where you undersell your position. You convince yourself you have less is possible than is really possible, because it makes it sting less if things don't work out, and if things do work out, it's a pleasant surprise. And I'm really undecided if that's actually a good thing. Um, I think that confidence is important. It's something that I really need to work on. In fact, for my casting, I think actually that's a really important thing that I am really lacking. I don't have a lot of confidence in myself. So it's sort of an issue I've been struggling with. I've been thinking a lot about lately. Uh, and I guess the place I'm kind of going with this is when it comes to that, I'm just looking into the future and thinking, there are going to be a lot of gigs that I don't get. Um, there's definitely going to be a lot of gigs that I don't get. Even if things start really working out well for me in 2018 and I improve and really start turning heads and maybe get more gigs, it's a long ways away. There's Katowice that I'm quite frankly probably not going to get. Probably not going to, there's a good chance I won't get the first or second, or maybe even the third WCS gig of the year. It's possible I get hired for exactly one WCS gig next year. It's possible I get hired for none. I have no idea. And I'm realizing now if I don't figure out what to do with these kind of expectations that I feel like I have for myself now, then I'm gonna feel really terrible about myself. And I need to find a way to cope with that. Find a way to deal with that. I know it's easy to just say, "Oh, well, Fear Dragon, you're not even full time in StarCraft. Why do you, or just enjoy the game. Just enjoy casting where you can." But I think that a lot of this is about the feeling of progression. And for me right now, I've been able to get that first WCS gig, and it's a lot of it for me is being able to feel like, hey, I can do this. I can lock down more WCS gigs. I did a good enough job at the first one that I did, and honestly, I don't know that I did, and I think that's where the uncertainty comes in. I wasn't thrilled about my performance. I think that I was a little bit too hard on myself initially. Like I think that I did an okay job, but there's a lot of things I want to improve, and there's definitely a part of me that's a little afraid I won't get that opportunity. But that's something I just have to come to terms with, and I don't think that it's super fruitful to continuously think that line of thought. I think that it's only useful in the sense that it drives me forward to improve. And after that, I kind of have to leave it up to fate, leave it up to other people who make those decisions, and just feel confident that I did everything I could do. And regardless of the result, I gave it my best, and I have to learn to be happy with that. I think a lot of my frustration, I think that I'm generally pretty good at that, but a lot of my frustration comes in that I don't feel like I did my best at Valencia. It's not that I have regrets in terms of how much preparation I did. I just feel like I could have prepared differently. There's a lot of things that I realized, and I don't think I adapted as well to those realizations quickly enough during the broadcast. And I prioritized certain things that in terms of my preparation and how I wanted to improve as a commentator. But it was still a valuable experience. I prepared in ways that I, in retrospect, actually would prepare very differently now. But I want the opportunity to try and implore some of those changes. So I'm hoping I can find a way to get that opportunity. I'm a big believer in just hard work. I know that's actually been a conversation with Katz releasing an article in response to like some Reddit comments and other people talking about things like I think Artosis and someone else made a response about it. Talent versus hard work. I'm a big believer in hard work. And I think that there's very much open opportunities for people who work very hard. I think that, yeah, at the absolute top level, the person who has hard work and talent will trump the person who has just hard work. But I think that there's so much room to grow there. I think there's so many opportunities there to still continue to work hard and improve. So I'm going to look to do that. I feel like I'm in still a very weird place. It still hurts every time, and I know it's going to hurt every time I don't get offered a gig or I find out, I guess I wasn't good enough. Every single time I will see a premiere lineup for commentary that, I haven't hit it yet. And it's going to sting. And I think it's going to sting very similar to how when a pro player doesn't qualify for an event. It stings. You didn't quite make it there. Even if you know in your head, I don't know why I was expecting to qualify for this, but I qualified for one before. Actually, it really reminds me of something that Masa said in the interviews I've done for the documentary I'm doing for North American StarCraft players, uh, where he qualified or he would reach some goal, and he would talk about how that pressure would really get to him, and sometimes he would choke, or sometimes he'd just get really depressed because suddenly that was the new level, that was the expectation, and I don't feel like I've ever really set those expectations for myself. I've been very good at tempering them. So even when I have streams where maybe I hit like 2,000 viewers naturally, or like 1,000 viewers without hosts, even if my next stream I only hit like 75 to 90, I don't really think too much about it. I don't feel the burn of inconsistency as much as many other people do. But this one, I'm starting to feel it, and I need to find a way to cope with that. Or at least drive it in a positive way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those kind of thoughts there. It's very, very much personal one this time, not so much just the ambiguous one. I know I've done a few of these before, but yeah, all cards on the table. Bittersweet. Either way though, I know that Zombie Grove is gonna absolutely kill it at BlizzCon. She's such a fantastic caster, and I hope that you guys cheer for her. I hope she shows good casts, and I hope my boy Kelvazur and Neeb, both of those guys, do wonderful at BlizzCon. I'm cheering them on, as well as True, and also just I think there's so many players that I'm going to be rooting for, including some of the Koreans as well. It's going to be great. I will be at BlizzCon, by the way, for anyone wondering, so be sure to say hi if you see me around. I'm going to try to be in good spirits about everything, and I'm going to be doing a lot of filming for the North American documentary as well, so doing a lot of interviews and stuff. But if you catch me when I'm not filming, please stop by and say hi or say something, especially if you're someone that actually bothers to watch my modest musings. I can't imagine that there are too many people out there that are interested in it, but so much love to everyone. So much love to everyone that does. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's it. So with that being said, happy StarCrafting, and I'll see you guys next time.